If you ever want to realize how ridiculous some of the shit that us human beings take for granted is, a great way to figure it out is to put yourself in the position of explaining it to an alien, an extraterrestrial. See, because an alien has a completely objective perspective, so you have to do something that us humans aren't very good at, and that would be tell the truth and be honest and not use euphemisms. So you'd have to be like, for example, take explaining just the simple act of procreation to someone from another planet, right? Okay, so check this out. What I do is I take this person who I love and I care for very dearly, and then what I do is I stab her repeatedly with this sort of long, protruding thing I got in this moist hole that she's got going on here. And then what I do is I shoot hundreds of millions of parasitic tadpoles up inside her. And then if we're lucky, one of them will cling to her and start sucking all of her nutrients out, and then she'll get fat and start crying and shouting at me for shit that makes no sense. Well, this is good. She's pregnant. This is what we're going for. Phase 1, done. Okay, so then what happens is the thing just gets way bigger, right? And then it forces itself out of the same hole that it came out, but it's way bigger. So there's lots of bleeding and crying and screaming. And at this point, I'm thinking any logical alien is going to say, why would you possibly do that to someone that you're supposedly in love with? And you'd have to say, well, because then you get a baby. And what they do is they cry and scream and fart and shit and drool all over themselves, and occasionally they'll reach for a pair of tits and be like, give me some titties. But the thing is that we encourage that behavior in our babies. You know, so they're like, oh, look at you, you're so cute. You drooled all over yourself. Oh, you farted. Here, have some titties, have some titties. And then we wonder why, as men, when we grow up, that's all we can ever really seem to accomplish in life. You know what I mean? Just going from bodily function to bodily function, give some tits. Tits are just fucking funny to me, because that's a masculine statement that you want to suck on some tits. Like, you could be sitting in the Hells Angels clubhouse, and Razor Blade Eddie just finished telling you about beating the shit out of some guy with a lead pipe till he was fucking crying and bleeding on the ground. And you're like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good story, Razor Blade, but you know what I want to do right now? Suck on some tits. Yeah, and it would be totally not out of place. Alright, I got a bit dirty there. I'm not a very dirty comic, so I want to tell you guys something serious. This is a dream come true for me, to be standing here on this Yuck Yuck stage doing comedy for you guys. And yeah, if you want to clap, go ahead. I just want to say that it wouldn't have been possible if 24 years ago my dad hadn't stuck his penis inside my mom and just busted a big fat load of unprotected semen right up inside her head. Because that's how I got here, with the swimming up and the growing. And yeah, that's how it happened. And I think you'll find, even you judgmental cunts like this little guy who's straight with his arms folded out, that's how you got here too. Yeah, your dad fucked your mom, and then that's how... And it probably wasn't like the nice romantic shit that you convinced yourself it was. It wasn't like rose petals. It was probably like they were fucking with a condom for an hour, and then you finally got to that point where you just can't feel anything anymore, and it's that weird rubbery, not even really a hard point, and you might as well be sticking your big toe inside her because that's how much sensation you're getting. So he finally just rips it off and fucking gives her 3 thrusts and busts, and that's probably how you got here. Or maybe it was the night that he finally decided to stick a finger up your mom's ass, and that's what finally provided the lubrication that allowed you to swim all the way to the end. It might not have been the beautiful night that you think it was. But that's weird to me. That's the most basic truth in the world, is how you got here, right? But we lie to our kids about that, don't we? It's like the second you're born, your parents hold you and they're just like, you can never find out how this happened. We're gonna make up some fucking story about a stork and chimneys or anything. You can never find out how this shit happened. And really, we don't have to, okay? We don't have to lie about to our kids about this, because nature will protect you from that experience. Yeah, nature will stop those first few years of memory from taking hold. And it's a good thing, too, because can you imagine if you could remember wriggling out of your mom's sweaty, fucking, stinky, bloody vagina? Would you ever want to try and get back inside another one again? That's extinction, folks. That's the end of the human race as we know it. Girls Gone Wild, that shit wouldn't exist. Girls that show their tits, guys would like, put that shit away. We lie to our kids about everything. We lie to them about Prince Charming and Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and Jesus. Yeah, you're damn right he belongs on that fucking list, alright. Watch Zeitgeist. Okay, well, let's just say, for those of you who think that Jesus still exists, okay, let's say you actually believe that God and a ghost tag-teamed a virgin, and then they gave birth to this guy, and he spent all of his time hanging out with hookers and fucking homeless people and getting people drunk on free wine. Let's say all of that's true, and then he got himself voluntarily nailed to a piece of wood, and then 2,000 years later he decides he wants to come back. Who wants to explain to him the holidays that we've set up for him? Anyone? All right, Jesus, check this out. What we do for your birthday is we move the date ahead because snow looks better on postcards. And then how we remember you is what we do is we got this fat guy in the North Pole that we lie to our kids about, and he's got a bunch of midget slaves who make toys, and then he flies around. We take a bird and we stuff it full of bread, and then we eat the bird. And it doesn't really have a lot to do with you, does it? Okay, well, hold on. Check this out. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. Easter. What we do is we celebrate the fact that you got nailed to a fucking cross for our sins. But what we do is we got this bunny, and he's a pink bunny. And there's some eggs. Some of them are chocolate. Some of them are real. We paint the real eggs, and then I hide the eggs, and the kids go, and then we have a ham dinner. Oh shit, you're Jewish? You don't eat ham. Fuck. We've made a mockery of your entire life. Thank you, Yuck Yucks. Have a good night.
Danny Mendlow! You guys are eating that stuff up, huh?